because this video is extremely important. This video is about why the person in the shooting at the White House said that he was Jesus. First of all, in the Bible in Proverbs, it says to answer before listening. That is folly and shame. So, over the years, I've made it clear that I don't do any miracles in terms of walking on water, what have you. The miracle is that I'm the top martial artist ever possible, and that people are alive right now around me. The miracle of life, the miracle of martial arts existing in the first place and being the most impressive thing. And it's overkill by people trying to downplay that. The word martial is marital scrambled, and I, Christ, and the Bridegroom. Martial law is a character in the video game Tekken. Is also the idea of martial law being brought in, and they've been doing things that are mimicking the process of bringing in martial law deliberately by having people attack people, by not hiring enough law enforcement, by creating a certain sort of volatile state in the nation. Okay, so in the description and in the comments, you should see an explanation that makes it clear that it is crazy, it is insane to think that my argument is just another crazy person's argument. I'm not crazy. There are people who have testified on record that they believe that I'm the top martial artist ever possible, that they believe I'm Christ, what have you. And I have 23 witnesses on record to the psychological operation against me. So if they do not believe that I'm Christ, when I obviously am, why would they debate me after all these years? They debate each other over stupid stuff. The trolls won't debate me. The churches won't debate me. You name it. Atheists, you name it. They all shrink to fit. And I have like 19,000 videos. I'm making videos for 17 years, since 2009. And I have videos on TikTok, on YouTube, and other platforms as well. Facebook, you name it. I'm the son of 2 doctors, 1 a brain surgeon. I have a college degree, and I have a top martial arts challenge, and I beat all the challengers who tried to beat me. So again, it's $50 just to show, $100,000 if I'm not compensated for all the government persecution, if you can win, and $100 million, I think we're at, no, I think I raised it to $1 billion because of all the groups that are involved and how long it took place. So say there's 500 companies involved in government entities, okay, and how much they should pay each should ultimately add up to $1 billion altogether. So if that's the case, it's $1 billion take home, right? So therefore I'd have $1 billion to pay anyone who could beat me. That's how sure I am that no one can beat me. So now another difference is that in the wordplay, Kuro Obi, which means black belt in Japanese and the Chinese Kung Fu system, what have you, belt, sash, right? Obi meaning belt or sash, Kuro meaning black. Okay, and you have all these other systems, right? Taekwondo, Jiu-Jitsu, what have you. The Obi means King Heart Hut Essence Center Temple Core in the Igbo language. Obi is Igbo spelled backwards. That's my father's tribe. I'm mulatto, his son. And you can see it's a sign of rank, right? King. And the belt. And we see in Isaiah, it says righteousness and faithfulness will be his belt and sash. And in Revelation 19, the heavenly warrior defeats the beast, what have you. So the reason why the government did what it did with this recent shooting, right? Why they used their network to kind of create the situation for the shooting to take place, is because they know that Christ is back, and that I am the idea that Christ is a character in the story is superimposed on. I'm not some white guy with long hair. I don't walk on water. I don't resurrect people literally. But those things are superimposed on other ideas. They're like straw men that are designed to play out the top martial arts. This is why black people were persecuted historically, because they knew that the Son of God comes from a black patriarchal line. Think of it as indigenous people, right? The indigenous people of the planet are mostly, the indigenous people of the planet are centered in Africa, right? All the human race is centered in Africa. So God's image is African, and that most people, they get that much, but they don't understand the martial art connection. If you look at it in terms of traits of human beings and what is most like God, right? Psalm 106, right? Who can proclaim his mighty acts, right? Who is like God? That he can proclaim his mighty acts like him, in the sense that there's similarities there that go beyond other people. And so we look at it in terms of the martial art principles, right? Heart, focus, timing, speed, righteousness, justice, wisdom, maturity, and so on and so forth. Thus, the soul brother of soul brothers, if you will. I'm not a racial supremacist. These are the facts here. So when it comes to the fairy tale nonsense story that the churches uphold, that's not me. I am the actual Son of God. And they are propagandists, neo-colonial liars, Roman liars, Greek liars, Jewish occultists, what have you. And that's part of why they keep arguing that they're chosen when no one believes them, because they're doing a form of psychology on people, and it's centered in what's known as surrealism. When you look at surrealism, it's very much about people depicting things and doing things and creating nations in a way that is illogical and fantasy-like, dreamlike. Look up surrealism. So other people are basically living an illogical life and a dream fantasy life, because in reality, they should all be rallying and obeying God through me, not breaking into groups of illogical people like jocks and skaters and rockers and nerds, okay, gangsters with no higher cause, thugs with no higher cause. I'm not a gangster or thug, mind you. Martial artists who are in systems that do not put me first, right? Put God first by putting me first, because I'm God's representative. And stupid Christian groups that say things like, you mean God first, when I say things like that, because they're raised poorly, because they're stupid, because they think that they should try to correct Christ, because they think that if they could sneak that in there as if I'm not putting God above everything else, which I am, that magically they get power or something, completely disgracing them and their crests and their groups and their churches and so on and so forth. Their synagogues, mosques, whatever it is. Their military unit, what have you. So when you look at this situation, you see that I'm mature and I'm right. They're immature. They changed my voice. They messed up my videos. They sabotaged me. I went through all kinds of mics and phones in the last, 4 or 5 years or so. Like 10 microphones and phones. Because they're using various forms of technology to sabotage me. There's various electromagnetic interference, and there shouldn't be. There's fumes, there's poisons, what have you. So again, I am the idea, the true idea that Christ in propaganda is superimposed on. So I want you to ask yourself, it's obvious they lied about the image of Christ. Now what else are they lying about? It's obvious that they're lying about what you should do, that the church is sold out to the state. So what else are they lying about? Hebrew is an Afro-Asiatic language. It's obvious that they're creating straw men in the black community with black Hebrew Israelites. Why? Because Jews aren't known as soul brothers. No offense to Jews. There's Jews in my extended family, in-laws, what have you, and I'm part Jewish, but I'm from a black African patriarchal line. So again, I want you to ask yourselves, why the straw men? Why all the Jesus statues being attacked? Everyone knows that the churches, mosques, and synagogues aren't right with God. Who doesn't know that these days? There's so many people in cults who work with the churches who are aware of that. So many people in political groups who work with them are aware of that. Law enforcement, military, they see their fakeness. They see their shallowness. It is impossible to miss. If you think the churches are deep, you probably think that the Simpsons cartoon is deep or something. I mean, give me a break here. Who do you think Flanders is modeled after? Think he's modeled after the top martial artist ever possible, or some shallow idiot who doesn't understand the Bible because he's too damn shallow? And he's a dime a dozen in every church you can think of. This is not very hard to understand here. When other people are dwelling in states of privilege or groveling to their oppressor, as a poor person, I'm sabotaged and facing my oppressor as a poor person as uncontrolled opposition. No cult gimmick, no social club, no Freemasonic nonsense. Just the pure truth, the way, the truth, and life. Universal pinpoint and moral precision is my religion. Rising above the crowd, making the distinction between people who have failed as Christians, Muslims, and Jews, and have brought down the idea of being a Christian, Muslim, and Jew, and the true idea of serving God, which is universal pinpoint and moral precision. If people are to kind of use that phrase to try to take away from it, there's still the obvious in regards to what it means. You don't have that effect with Islam and Christianity and Judaism. They never were right with God, and they fall more and more. Well, what I would say to the Muslims, who in many ways are seen as the most sincere of the three groups, some ways they're not, some ways they are because they don't pass Martin Luther King, so on and so forth, is what does it mean to be a Muslim? To believe in a book that you don't know who wrote? Is that the determinant? Or is it submission to God using your head? Because if you read the book, you have to be able to read, right? Or you have to be able to listen to hear somebody. So other things come into play. And you have to use your head. What does that mean? That's why in the Bible it says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Okay, that sums up the law and the prophets. Why wouldn't that sum up the Quran as well? I go as far as to say it does, but they confuse it. Whatever rules they give you, pray 5 times a day, do this, do that, these things mean nothing if you cheat me out of my right to lead. Because the essence of submission to God is submission to the one he set apart as his representative. How do you connect? How you pray hoping that it makes it there? That's not connecting to God. That's hoping. But the one God set apart to lead, which is me, which your leaders do not want to debate. They don't want to debate me. If they were to argue, well, the American government said that we shouldn't, they're running a psyop, then they serve the devil clearly. What kind of excuse is that? They say now's not the time? Says who? What do you base that on? Does it say in the Quran, find the first idiot you can fucking find and say, hey, this guy must be the one God told me to follow because I was born from this faction, like every other Muslim on the planet, born from one faction or another, or converted to one faction or another. Is that what being a Muslim about? Is that what submitting to God is about? No. It's about submitting to me. And if you don't, you have betrayed God and I to the essence of your souls. And you are very disgraced when you pretend that you're serving God, or that you believe in God, or that you're loyal to God. You are loyal to your cowardice and your stupidity, and not to God. So some of you might say that I shouldn't say it that way because it's rude. What I would say to you is David's victory over Goliath. Was it from God or man? If you agree that in the story, at least, it is from God, then part of my freedom of expression is expressing things the way that I would, from my heart. And we see in Isaiah 58, we see in the New Testament, Christ is a character in the story. They chastise people in the next week. Hosea, Jeremiah, very potent and sharp criticisms. John the Baptist, Stephen the martyr. So why should I, the one who has proven logically and universally, I'm the spiritual leader of all mankind, I've reached the pinnacle of spiritual power. Pow, ear, pow, 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 ear. Spirit. Not some knucklehead with a gun, not some brute with a spear, but someone who can outmaneuver someone man to man. Hand-to-hand combat, the hand of God, hand-to-hand combat, the lead hand in sparring, and so on and so forth, the sword of Scripture, not a bomb or a drone. Why should I have to limit myself to sounding like some kind of gay person from a PowerPoint presentation or something? You know, back in the day, we'll say, I don't know what kind of presentations they give now, but they change my voice covertly to try to make it so I sound like that at times. And that throws fuel in the fire. So they're telling me, don't sound like the man that you are, like the Son of God that you are, while they're fuming me and poisoning me and provoking me and harassing me. And so then if I say it more angry than I otherwise would, which is fair and square, they want to crack down on me more. Because the people running the SOP on me, the government, what have you, they don't keep their oaths, their constitutional oath. They don't care enough about freedom of expression, freedom of speech. They censor me on the internet. They abuse their powers and their corporate connections to censor me on the internet. The government doesn't try to correct it by saying, you're not supposed to run a SOP on them. And so we're going to start arresting you and we're going to compensate this person. They don't do that. And so they're contributing to the process of censoring my speech. And they plant people in the community and tell them that they're not allowed to talk to me or they'll be accused of helping me. Why would it be illegal to talk to me? Even if I was a terrorist, which I'm not. I have no criminal record, no connection to any terrorist group. I don't own a gun or a bomb or anything like that. So why would it be illegal to talk to me? Why would it be something the government should be able to tell you to do? I have 23 witnesses on record to the psychological operation against me. There are countless people who have worked this operation and know they've been provoking me. You can't provoke someone and say, well, he gets angry and says something like this sometimes, and so therefore we don't want you to talk to him or accuse you of helping him. What kind of nonsense is that? So you can break the law with impunity and they better help you? But when I talk reason and demand debates and talk about peaceful protests and peaceful assembly, okay, that you tell them that they can't assist me. Using the scale of the Constitution, and again, my kingdom is not of this world, but using the scale of the Constitution, I'm the one behaving like someone who's following the Constitution, not them. The greatest threat to the constitutional freedom in America What's left of it, that is coming from the governing class and the government and law enforcement and the military and the intelligence apparatus.